عندما تتصفح كتاب الفيلسوف الروسي الأمريكي أندري فالتشيك فضح أكاذيب الإمبراطورية، فإننا نجده يرثي الاحتكار المطلق للصحافة، كما يحدد لنا ما ينبغي أن يقوم به الصحفي الأصيل في نقل الواقع، ويشرح كيف واجه هذا الاحتكار للإعلام الذي بات متحيزاً ويكيل بمكيالين في محاولة تغيير المفاهيم والوعي لدى شعوب العالم.
Well, first of all, let me give you one example. If you look at the cover of this book, you see this hand and this finger raised. This was a work of great Australian painter George Burchett. But it's not only he, it's his father especially, Wilfred Burchett, who to me was the symbol of great journalism. And to me, he was perhaps the greatest journalist of the 20th century. This man, father of George, actually wrote the most famous essay about Hiroshima. It was called, I write this as a warning to the world. He was covering all the horrors of Korean War. And he was actually a very good friend of Ho Chi Minh. So my friend George was born in Vietnam because his father was exiled. He was stripped of Australian citizenship and declared the enemy of the Australian people because he dared to criticize the West. So why am I telling this story? It is because I believe that true journalists should not be afraid. Like Kapuscinski was not afraid, like Burchett was not afraid. Not afraid to lose his or her life. Or to get
not
into
only their jobs, but also their lives.
It's not, because real journalism is more a philosophy. It is not really, it should never be just some kind of a job that you do to satisfy your bosses at the newspaper or television station. You have to be obsessed, you have to be possessed with desire to tell the truth. Cockburn, founder of Counterpunch,
Patrick.
yes, he used to ask new writers who came to Counterpunch. He said, "How pure is your hate?" You see, you have to love a journalist or an artist or a thinker has to know how to love and has to know how to hate. Those who just satisfy desires of the publishing houses or television stations.
But so you don't believe here in unbiased
Definitely
journalism.
not. There is nothing as
Yeah,
unbiased
you either have to
journalism.
love or to hate.
Yes,
There's no standing on the fence.
You cannot be, there is no objectivity. Objectivity in journalism, objectivity in is basically something what the BBC and others created to cover their biasness. There is no...
Like a camouflage of...
It's a total camouflage. One has to be totally engaged, one has to stand on one side, but one has to be honest. So people would know exactly where you stand. So once you really become biased and you claim that you are objective, then you are a liar.
Yes.
You understand? You can be, if you really are biased and you say, look, I am biased, this is what you will expect from me. That what you should expect from me, that's what you will get. Then your readers are not deceived because you are actually telling them exactly what you are doing. Now, bias, by saying bias, I'm not talking about lying. I'm just talking about selecting the stories that you want to write about, that you want to cover, that you want to film.
And turning a blind eye to some other stories, perhaps.
Well, turning blind eye, or for instance, I'm not going to start trashing Eritrea because hundreds of Western media outlets are doing it. Why should I do it too? So I'm interested in really showing Eritrea from different point of view. Perspective, yes.
Sure.
And that's what I'm doing. And how many people actually have opportunity to go to Eritrea and to show the different angle? Not many. So I go to Eritrea as a friend of Eritrea, actually, which I am, or I go to South Africa as a friend of South Africa, or I go to China as a friend of China.
Right.
But it's not that I'm going to do some propaganda work, but I'm going to cover things that are going to show my belief about these countries and so on. So I'm not going to be, propagandist, but at the same time, I'm not going to start digging like the British media is doing for every dirt they can find on China, which I find absolutely disrespectful the way they cover the country.
Right, because this is their approach perhaps towards certain countries and certain dossiers.
Oh, yes.
But allow me here to talk about a review by Noam Chomsky. He said about your book, and this is what you've been talking about, Andrei Velchik tells us about a world that few know, even when they think they do. That is because he tells the truth vividly, with a keen sense of history, and with a perceptive eye that sees past surfaces to reality. How did you manage to tell the history of the world through the eyes of those who have been denied a voice in history books?
First of all, you have to be totally obsessed with what you are doing. You have to go. To villages. If you talk, let's say, about India, instead of sitting in New Delhi only, you have to go to villages,
to the slums,
but to farmers. You have to really understand when they tell you Indian democracy, the greatest democracy on earth. I don't believe India is at all democratic, but how do I prove it? I go to the villages where the majority of people live, and I talk to them how they vote, what is really going on during the elections, and people tell you. The people are very open when they see that you are ready to listen. You know, my good friend who passed away, perhaps the greatest Latin American writer, Eduardo Galeano, author of The Open Veins of Latin America, he told me many times, he said, in order to be a great writer, you have to be a great listener.
True.
You cannot really go and just have some concept. And you have to sit down with the people, you have to spend time with them, you have to listen. That's how you get the truth about what's happening near Mosul, in Iraq, or in India, or in Ecuador, or in any part of the world.
Right. Quickly, if I may ask, how can one resist imperial violence, in your opinion, Andrei?
Countries have to unite and they have to defend themselves. What Russia is doing next door is very important.
Like Latin America,
Latin America, definitely. I mean, Latin America was always defeated until people like Chavez, like Evo Morales, came to power, and Lula in Brazil, very importantly, no matter what people say, that it maybe didn't go so far as they expected, but all these great leaders actually united, and they said over our dead body would be allowed that one of the countries on our continent would be actually attacked, and we would be just standing and looking how it's being overrun.
Now, to wrap up, Andrei, Kim Peterson said about exposing lies of the empire, quote, there are 69 chapters of jam-packed information on the lands of empire and the lands of resistance and the peoples. A book review can only skim the surface of this fascinating work that explores various facets of empire and resistance to empire. This is a book for everyone. Get it, read it, and become an informed citizen of Earth. Find out what our brothers and sisters are resisting and solidarize with them. In particular, people who work within corporate journalism should read Exposing Lies of the Empire and find out what an authentic journalist really does. Andrei Velchik, I'm not going to talk about your titles. Your name is more important than all those titles. Many thanks indeed for joining us on this special edition with you.
Zareb, thank you so much.
You're most
Very
welcome.
pleasure.
You're most welcome, sir. إذا لقاء جديد في الأسبوع المقبل مع ضيف جديد وقضية جديدة ودائما من الداخل. للمزيد من التواصل بريدنا theinside@almayadeen.net وصفحتنا على الفيسبوك من الداخل. من كل فريق عمل من الداخل من كل الميادين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.